Good. शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिभिर्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथं सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः. So we're doing Mukundamala, correct? No? Okay. You have been listening to Swamiji's talks on Bhagavatam, and therefore I don't need to give you introduction to this text, Bhagavatam, as such. But here, this particular portion from Bhagavat is taken up and considered as a Vedantic discussion. It is regarded by all great masters, scholars and saints that Bhagavat is Bhakti Grantha, a scripture on devotion. It's a Mahapurana also. But at the same time, even though it is a Purana, an historical document, yet it contains great teachings which are Vedantic by nature. When you say Vedanta, as we have seen yesterday, it's what is said in the Upanishad is called Vedanta. But what does the Upanishad talk about? Paramatma only. And that very Paramatma himself has taken the form of Bhagavan Krishna, and when he talks about himself, it is also Upanishad only. Ramayana also, it is said in Valmiki Ramayana, introduction, Vede Vedye Pare Pumsi Jate Dasharathatmaje Veda Prachetamasidit Sakshat Ramayanatmana. Veda Vedye Pare Pumsi Jate Dasharathatmaje. Veda Purusha, himself, that Paramatma himself has been born as Dasharathatmaja. That is the son of Dasharatha himself. Veda Pracheta Sadasi. Pracheta is the Purana or Itihasa, the very textbook. Ramayana itself is Vedas. Sakshat Ramayanatmana, in the form of Ramayana, Veda has come, and Rama himself is none other than the Brahman indicated in the Vedas. Therefore, Ramayana, the one meaning of Ayana means a journey. Ayana also means abode. Dhama ityartaha. So, Ramasya dhamaha Ramayana, the abode of Ram. Just like Ramayana is the abode of Bhagavan Sri Rama, Bhagavat is the abode of Lord Krishna. It is his own being. Bhagavat Swarup it is. So therefore, what is said in Bhagavatam is nothing but Sakshat Atma Swarupa. Swarupa Katanam. Atma Rupa Katanam. So it's about the description of the Paramatma himself. So in this, what is it that one has to do when one who is studying Bhagavatam? You know, the story is that Parikshit, who was cursed to die in 7 days, and he wanted a crash course on moksha. Because he doesn't have much time. So he has to get everything done in 7 days. So imagine the urgency involved there. Within those 7 days, he has to get, the purification of mind has to take place. You know the steps there? Tell me. Chitta. First of all, you must have the qualification. Shat Sampatti should mean, Sadhana Chatushtaya should be there. Then, Karma Yoga Dvarena Chitta Shuddhihi. Then, Kartrutva Bhoktrutva Tyaga. Through that is Karma Yoga. Then, Jnana Praptihi. Karma Sannyasa. Then, Jnana Praptihi. Then afterwards what? Jnana Nishtha. And finally, Atmanishta. So in Sankshipta, that Yoga Vasishta Sapta Bhuma Yaga, Sapta Bhumikas are given. What are those? Subhaicha, Tanumanasa, Vicharana, Sattvapattihi, Two more? No, 3 more. Turiya is the last one. So, okay, you went last one. In between, there are 2 more. Asam Saktihi. Finally. Then. Padartha Bhavana. Not Padartha Bhavana. So all these 7 has to happen in 7 days. See, that's the beauty of it. This Sapta Bhumi. Sapta Bhumika is given in 7 days it has to happen. And the last day has to have Brahmanishta. So first is what? Shubhaicha. Shubhaicha. That desire for good things. So the very fact that Parikshit Maharaj decided to invite Shuka Maharshi is Shubhaicha, wanting to listen, asking the relevant questions. Without that, without the satsanga, it would not even start. So what Parikshit has done is what to show us what we should do. Satsanga. That is Shubhaicha. Moksham me bhuyadidicha. May I become free. So it is said in Bhagavatam, in the beginning itself, in this first canto itself, this verse comes, which is quoted in the discourse number 1 in the book, if you open, and what is the result of listening to the Lord's Katha itself. Repeat after me. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo. Nirmatsaranam satam. Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam. Tapatrayonmulanam. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamunikrite. Kimva parairishvaraha. Sadyo hrityavarudyate trakritibihi. Shushrushubistakshanat. Dharma projita kaidavotra paramo nirmatsaranam sadam. Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam. Tapatrayonmulanam. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamunikrite. Kim va parairishvaraha. Satyo hrit avarudyate trakritibihi. Shushrushebistakshanat. Avarudyate. That's a verb. I told you, start from the verb. Avarudyate. Atra. The word atra has come 3 times in this verse. Atra means here. Kutra? No, kutra, atra. You have to answer atra. Where? Here. The first line also it is there, second line is also there. So, it is said, what is the first and foremost thing one should know before undertaking the spiritual path is what is dharma. And what kind of a dharma is? Paramaha dharma. Supreme dharma. One should know the supreme dharma. We'll see that. Atra paramo dharma. And what is that? Kaitavaha projitaha. Praujjitaha. Ujjitam means that which avoids, abandons, ujjati, 6th conjugation, parasmipada. Ujjita, given up, abandoned. What? That dharma, because of which all the unwanted, kaitava means all the deceit, all the bad things are given up by whom? Nirmatsaranam satam, satam satpurushanam, of those who are of noble nature, Satpurushanam, Nirmatsaranam. Matsara is all kind of wickedness. Matsarya, jealousy, etc. Nirmatsaranam sadam atra paramodharmaha kaitavaha projitaha. All these deceitfulness and all unwanted qualities are abandoned. By them it is Vedyam. Vedyam, Jnatavyam, to be known, to be understood. Atra Vastu Vastavam. Atra here, Vastu means Satyam, Sat, that supreme reality. Vastavam, truly, authoritatively, authentically, atra vastu vedyam. This supreme reality has to be understood by those people. Why it is so? Because this is Shivadam, Tapatrayu Unmulanam. Shivam Dadadi. Shiva means auspiciousness. What is noble? What is divine? Shivadam Tapatraya Unmulanam. Tapatrayanam Unmulanam. What is Tapatraya? Adi Daivika, Adi Bhaudika, and Adhyatmika. These are all the three tapas. Three afflictions that are there in our life, and it uproots all of them. Unmulanam is to uproot. This dharma is that, this thing is that which is capable of uprooting all the three kinds of afflictions that we come to go through. They are those afflictions caused by divine powers, those afflictions caused by the environment and the people around, and those afflictions caused by our own mind. Tapatrayanam unmulanam vedyam vastu atra shivadam. And that is where available? Srimad Bhagavate, in this very wonderful text known as Srimad Bhagavata. Who created it? Mahamuni Krite Vyasa Krite. That is, Mahamuni here is Vyasa. Composed by or created by Vyasa. Kim va paraihi. What else which is greater than this? Kim atra paraihi. By what else it can be superseded? Nothing. Why? Because Ishvaraha, Paramatma, Sadhyaha Hridi Avarudyate. At once, as soon as you hear, he finds through your ears, get into your heart. What a wonderful thing. Keep your ears open, because he will get into that, through that. Straight into your heart. Even if you sleepily listen also, he can get in. Shravana Mahima. That is called the greatness of listening. You don't need to even think about it. That is the beauty of this katha. You may not have the qualification of, even the language and learning yourself, studying, contemplating. Nothing is necessary. Just listen. If the pure mind is there and if it listens to Bhagavad Katha, the Lord will find his way into your heart. Hridi Avarudya. Not only that he will go there, he will get confined there. Avarudyate. Ava is a upasarga for Rud is the root word there. Rud comes from, it has two different conjugations. In one it is Rodati. Rud, Rodanam is also grow. To grow also is there. Rodanam is to grow. Avarodana. So people will say, What is it called? Arohana, Avarohana. Similarly, this Rodanam is to grow. But another meaning for that is, with Ava as Upasarga, Rundhe, which means to capture, to confine, to lock up. Rud. That's why when somebody wants to stop, Niruddham, right? Niruddha means stop. Tamil in the Niruddha. Sanskrit word is Niruddha. Niruddha. Sadhyaha hridi avarudhyate. In the heart he will be locked up. By whom? By whose heart? Kritibihi. Atra. Those who are engaging in what? Sushrushubihi. Sushrushubihi. Sushrushubihi means Shrotumicha Sushrusha. Moktumicha Mumukshutaha. This, you know the desideratives? You are not introduced then. Okay. Mumukshu is mokshasya icha mumukshudha. And one who has a desire for moksha is called mumukshu. Mokshasya icha bhuktasya icha bubukshuhu. Bhogasya icha. When you want to enjoy, you become bubukshu. When you want to liberate, you become mumukshu. When you want to listen, you become sushrushu. You shrotimichuhu. So, sushrubihi, by those who are so desirous of listening to this story, tat shanat, at once, quickly. In other words, the Lord will enter into the heart of those who are so desirous of listening to this story. Which story? This very Bhagavata Grantha, which was composed by Vyasa himself. What else? And it teaches us the Paramadharma, supreme Dharma, which destroys all our impurities. With a pure heart, when it is heard, Nimatsaranam satam atra dharmaha projita kaitavaha. It is that which removes the impurities of the mind at once, and also it is that which is knowable, Vedyam. Vedyam vastu vastavam that is to be known, and it is also that which is the remover of the three kinds of afflictions known as Adi Dhaivika, Adi Bhaudika and Adhyatmika. Now, the word dharma, I am sure you have all come across, coming from the root word dhr dharati, dharanam. Dhr is to hold, support. Adhar word you might have come. Adhar means a support. Dhr is the root word for that. Dhr dharati. Like a Gangadhar. When you say Gangam dharati iti Gangadhar. He who holds Ganga. Damodhar. That's the different. Giridhar. Giridhar means Girim dharati iti Giridhar. He who held the Giri on his hand, Bhagavan Krishna. Vidyadhar, Vidyam dharati, one who holds knowledge. So in some way, same way, Dhr means to hold, to support. Now Gurudev used to say, Dharma is that, by definition, is that which supports. That which supports. What do you mean by support? Like if you take sugar, sugar is sugar only if it has sweet. If sugar has no sweet, it's not sugar. Sugar. What do you do with that? So, the sugar has the quality of sweet, and because of the quality of sweet, it's sugar. So one person said, I have a lot of ants, problem in my house. They all go to this sugar. So one friend suggested, you do one thing, in that bottle in which you keep the sugar, put a label, salt. Then the ants won't go there. Ants won't lead, oh, it is salt, I don't want that salt. They don't go by what you write there. They know what is sugar. You don't need to tell them, or you cannot cheat them. When I was in Bangalore, I was with Swami Brahmananda, I was there for some time. And in our temple, every day he will ask him to clean the temple. Because we had a lot of trees and a lot of birds will come and, leave their, what do you call that? Droppings there. So these workers know they always get annoyed, because it's a very strong chemical. So they curse, these birds unnecessarily. So our Swamiji is very funny, Okay, tomorrow we'll put a board. If you put a board, don't spit here. They know your word. Go to the trash and then do the dropping there only, not here. So sugar is sweet. In whichever condition it is, sugar has to be sweet. Sun is hot. Not for you or not for me, for everybody. So that quality of a thing, in the absence of which that thing doesn't exist, that is called dharma. One meaning. If sun is not hot, then it is Las Vegas only. In Las Vegas you may have sun, they may appear like sun, but there is no high heat at all. Mirage. So, if sun, when you say, fire, when you say, it has to be hot. That is the dharma of that sun. It is the dharma of the fire. It is the dharma of water is sapidity. Dharma of sugar is sweetness. So that is one meaning of dharma. That is in the absence of which the thing doesn't exist. That is one dharma. But we are not talking about that kind of a dharma. We are talking about, to start with, dharma is in the form of righteousness. What is right and what is not right. Dharma and adharma. So when you buy anything in the stores and go buy any electronic equipment, even your phone you buy or a watch, it comes with a small notebook. What is it? How to use. How to replace the battery. Right? And many times they write, don't put it inside the mouth. Don't swallow it. So they give in the form of what you can do with this, what you should not do with it. So that is also considered as dharma only. It's called vidhi nisheda. Vidhi means what you can do or what you should do, and nisheda means what we should not do. So when we were young, so our parents have said, okay, do this and don't do this. Right? So at that time we were not sure by ourselves what is right and what is not right. Don't go and talk to strangers. Don't go behind somebody. Meaning you be careful. So do's and don'ts are given to us, and that is necessary for us, for we do not know what is the right thing to do, what is not the right thing to do. So vidhi nisheda. So that's why the first set of dharma is vidhi nishedatmaka dharma. See, like this physical body, today morning also we saw, this is a vehicle which we are traveling with. And efficiency of this vehicle depends upon how well you take care of it. But overfeeding this physical body is adharma. Giving the correct kind of food and giving proper exercise and make it efficient, that is dharma. So, vidhi nisheda. Vidhi means what is to be done and what should not be done. And interestingly, what we find is many religions remain only at that level of teaching only. Do's and don'ts. If you ask why, that's against the religion. You should not even ask that question. So, vidhi nisheda is one aspect of dharma only. That's not the end of everything. Why? Because the individual is expected to go beyond the do's and don'ts also. See, as I said, when you are young, parents have said do's and don'ts. When you have become 15 or 16 or 18, if you even then your parents do this and don't do this. I know. This is not that the boy or the girl would say, I know it. One man, when his son turned 16, so he said, okay, I will have to now give him a maturity. So he called him and said, at home only, son, you have turned 16 today. Yes, Dad. Let us talk about life. So the son said, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? So at that point, he thinks he knows better than the daddy. That's why they wear a cap which says gap. There's a gap between the way you think and I think. Generation gap. So, vidhi nisheda is useful for those who cannot independently think. So, vidhi is necessary when there is no buddhi. Buddhi is not there, then vidhi is necessary. When you start thinking on your own, then you naturally know, okay, this is not the right thing to do. And that time it comes as samanya dharma. Samanya dharma is values. Satyam, ahimsa, brahmacharya. These are all values that are given even in Gita also. Various amanitvam, madambitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, arjavam, acharyopasanam, saucham, stairyam, atma vinigraha, indriyarteshu vairagyam, anahankara. So this is a whole list, it goes on and on. These are all fine-tuning the personality. The mind has to become sensitive. If I say something which will hurt somebody, when you realize that, you take the value of ahimsa. Physically hurting apart, even by word I should not hurt somebody, and to the extent I should not even think of hurting somebody. That much of sensitivity. So that comes only when you have buddhi. Because see, for example, ahimsa and all, or for example, saying the truth, being sincere, being truthful to what you are engaged in, being honest, these are all not activities. Morning 5 o'clock to 7, I am going to be sincere. After that, no. I am honest only 1 hour a day. Is it something which you do as an activity? My faith remains only up to 9 o'clock. I am without ego for 2 hours a day. How can there be a particular activity connected to that? It's not activity, it is an attitude. A change of your perception. So that's why I said it requires buddhi. It is not do's and don'ts. So, Vidhi Nishedatmaka Dharma, then comes Samanya Dharma. Samanya, it is universal values. The love, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, these are all not connected to any religion per se. It's not religious. It is human value. So religion leads you to that point. Should lead to that point. I cannot say that I am a very religious person, I have decided to kill everybody. How can religion tell you to be hurtful? Then it is not right. Religion prepares you to become subtle and sensitive. Sensible, actually. So, Satyam, Brahmacharya and Ahimsa. At the level of body, it is Ahimsa. At the level of the body is Brahmacharya. At the level of the mind, it is Ahimsa. At the level of the intellect, it is Satyam. So, non-indulgence, not being sensuous, not becoming overly indulging in the world of objects and situations and experiences is Brahmacharya. Not hurting anyone even by thought, that is Ahimsa. And I will abide by what is true. I will not deviate from what is right. That is Satyam. So you become more and more sensitive about that. Samanya Dharma. And the next one is called Vishesha Dharma. See, Samanya Dharma, the very word Samanya means universal. But then all of us are not at the same similar stages of life. According to the family in which one is born or the profession one has taken up, one has to have specific duties to perform. That is called Vishesha Dharma. A king, what he has to do is different from what a doctor should do, or what a policeman should do, and what a husband should do, what the wife should be doing, and what a teacher should do, what the student should. So there are so many different things that are there, and cohesively when they perform their part of the work or their part of their responsibility, then everything becomes harmonious. So these specific duties, what a student should do, what a householder should do, what a sannyasin should do, so these are all specifically given as Vishesha Dharma. Vishesha means specific. So one is Vidhi Nishedatmaka Dharma, another one is known as Samanya Dharma, then it is Vishesha Dharma. And for knowing this we have to read Shruti and Smriti. Yajnavalkya Smriti, that's about the rituals. There is ritual, Jaimini Smriti is there, that's for about rituals. Yajnavalkya Smriti is there about Dharma. Then Manusmriti is there about the laws of country. So many things. It's a vast literature. But apart from these three, there is one Paramadharma is there. That is realization of the reality, the truth. That is the subject matter of Bhagavat. What is that Dharma which is to be ultimately followed by all those who want to liberate themselves? So the Vedas talk about the basic, also ultimate one also, moksha. So this is considered as See, for this supreme dharma known as moksha, it is something which anybody is eligible, provided such a person has become very pure in the mind. Not only the scholars of Vedas, but anybody who has become pure in the heart is capable of this, realizing the supreme dharma. And that's where Bhagavat comes, where devotion can itself be the means to achieve the highest truths, because it essentially purifies the mind of the listener. And at the same time, it gives the correct knowledge of the highest reality. So it's not necessary that a person has to study Vedas to know this. It is like this. How many of you went to car driving school to learn driving? And there are many others who have never gone to any driving school, but they are driving also. Isn't it? Many people ask me, Swamiji, you drive car? No, I don't. I drive others. So I don't. So many of them have not gone through a school system, and then, or how many of you have gone through a musical lessons to learn about harmonium, playing harmonium? Yeah, you are playing, and we are praying. So, it's not necessary. Somebody who has never gone to any music lesson also can play. It's a question of interest. So, here it is said that Paramadharma, supreme reality, is that which, not necessary it has to be only through Vedas. If a person has got devotion for God, then the Lord Himself, in Gita also he says very clearly, Mayyeva mana adasva, mayi buddhim niveshaya, nivashasya mayyeva, nivashasyasi mayyeva, adu urdhvam na samshaya. Teshamaham samuddharta mrityu samsara sagarat, bhavami nachirat partha mayyaveshita chetasam. If somebody has given their mind to me, I will become their uplifter. I will take care of it. I will give them the knowledge. That is the assurance of the Lord. Maya aveshita chetasam samuddharta mrityu samsaga sagara sagarat bhavami. I will be the uplifter of them from the ocean of samsara. So, but the problem that we have is we don't have that innocence of creating the faith in the Lord. We are too logic-oriented people. We want rationality. We want logic. We want answers. So, in the very beginning of Bhagavatam itself, this is said. If you listen to the story, the Lord will occupy your heart. So that's the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. So, even Naradji, as Guruji quotes here, Naradji asked Brahmaji once that how is that when we do any work, we get bored after some time or tired. You are continuously engaging in this process of creation, you never get tired? He said, no, I won't, because I don't consider this as a work at all. I consider it as a seva. The Lord's service to the Lord I am doing. So where is the question of me getting tired about it? So he advised Naradji saying, you go there and spread the message of love to everyone, through which alone a person can engage in the world with no tiredness. Gurudev also said, no, if I rest, I rust. And he engaged also till the last breath so much. He worked so hard. And he always said, Narayana loves your sweat. Keep working. So that is the inspiration we see in people of that kind. They never were tired about doing the right thing and working for others. So as it is quoted here in page 5, Yata nrnanam bhagavati drida bhaktir bhavishyati sarvatmanyakiladare iti sankalpya varnaya. Yata nrnam drida bhaktihi bhavishyati bhagavati, as a firm devotion happens in the heart of the people, about whom sarvatmani akila adhare bhagavati, the one who is the very substratum of all beings, idi sankalpya, this, keeping this as your determination, continue to think and sing the Lord's name only. So this is the advice Brahmaji gave to Sri Narada ji. Now, in the second canto of Bhagavatam, 9th chapter, we find this particular discussion between Bhagavan Krishna and Bhagavan Sri Narayana and Brahmaji, where Brahmaji is asking for the highest knowledge. Because creation began from the navel of the Lord. In the story of Bhagavatam, as you have heard, that Brahma was the first creator, first creation. When he come to manifest himself, he had absolutely no idea what's going on. He was sitting on the lotus, everything completely dark, no beginning, no end, nothing you could see. There's no creation. So he said, first question that came to his mind is, who am I? What is this me? Because nothing else to ask, what is this? And there's nothing there. And how did I come to be? How did I come to become this, what I am? So I want to know. So then Narayana, the Lord himself, gave him this knowledge. So that's why he says in page 6, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Jnanam Paramaguhyam Me Yad Vijnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam Tadangam Cha Grihana Gatitam Maya. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Jnanam Paramaguhyam Me Yad Vijnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam Tadangam Cha Grihana Gatitam Maya. Grihana, come to know. Maya Gatitam, being spoken by me. What? Jnanam. Savijnanam. Knowledge along with experience of that knowledge. And what kind of knowledge is that? Paramaguhyam. Supreme secret. Here Guhya means hidden. Guh is to hide. Guhati. Guhate. And that which is hidden is called Guda. And that in English became God. Guda become God. But Gujarati said Guda means good, sweet. Good. They want to be good people. But instead of being good people, they become good people. Not of good they put. So, Paramaguhyam, supreme secret. Yat Vijnana Samanvitam, along with the experience of it, Sarahasyam, the secret of doing it, Tadangam cha, and also the various aspects of it. Maya kadidam grihana, being spoken by me, you come to know it. I am going to give you the secret. Now, what is the secret? A secret is that which very few people know. That's what secret. If everybody knows, there is no secret. Isn't it? And the greatest secret is the sacred. The sacred self is the greatest secret. Because even if somebody tells you, you don't understand, then it becomes secret only. If I tell you something and you never know it, I understand it, it's still a secret. Don't tell anybody. And then I tell you something and you don't understand it, it remains secret now. We are very funny people. When you listen to a secret, we cannot keep it. So you go to other person. I'll tell you a secret, but don't tell anybody. So if that fellow says, I don't need to tell anybody, why are you telling me? In Krishna also, in this chapter 9, all you say, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam. I am giving you this great truth secretly because you are my friend. And you are my devotee. Bhaktosi me sakha chedi rahasyam hedaduttam. So who is a friend? Friend, you confide with that person because you believe that that person can hold that secret. Right? So here what we see is, it says the time up. Anyway, close. Stopped. Anyway, doesn't matter. So here, jnanam paramaguhyam me jnanam. Knowledge about what? About me. Supreme secret about me. Me jnanam, mama jnanam. About my being, that knowledge. And vijnana sahitam. Along with the experience. Samanvidam. Sarahasyam, along with the secrets. Tadangam, all aspects of it. Maya kadidam, being spoken by me. Grihana, hold it. Or grihana means to listen or to grasp it. So then obviously Brahmaji is questioning, what is it that you are going to talk about? You should tell me in detail, what is that which you consider as knowledge? What kind of a knowledge is that? So here he says, Yavanaham yata bhavaha Yat rupa guna karmakaha Tataiva tattva vijnanam Astu te madanugrahat Yavanaham yata bhavaha Yadrupa guna karmakaha Tataiva tattva vijnanam Astu te madanugrahat Madanugrahat te astu. By my grace, let it be to you. Let it come to you. What? Tattva vijnanam. This reality, the essential truth. Tattva vijnanam. The truth about the reality, tattva. And what is that truth about what? Reality which is who I am, yavan aham, Yatha bhavaha, what is my nature? Yat, that which is rupa, guna, karma. Rupa is here to be understood as form, guna, the quality, karma, function. So who am I? What is my nature? What is my form? What is my quality? And what is my function? These I am going to tell you. And by my grace, may it be understood by you. Yavanaham yata bhavaha yatrupa guna karmakaha tadeva tattva vijnanam astute madanugrahat. By my grace, let it be there. So let us say there is fire. What is fire? That which gives you heat. That is its nature. Right? What is the form? Light is its form. What is a guna? Burning is its guna. What is its function? To burn everything. Right? So in the same way, what is who is Bhagavan? What is his nature? How does he appear to be? What is his quality and what is his function? You know, there is a story about a king who had a question like this. In Tamil there was a story about it. In some movie also it came. You know about that? So, this king asked his very senior minister, I want to know about God, but don't refer to any scripture. You tell me about 3 questions which I want to ask you. Number 1 is, where is he? Where is he? Where is God? Second, from where does he operate from? Third, what does he do? This you should tell me by tomorrow morning. But don't refer to any scriptures. Don't tell that in Gita it is said and Upanishad. I don't want. I want practical answers. So this old minister comes back home and he was not able to, how do I tell him, this is not an easy subject. And king is very upset if I don't tell him, So all my scholarliness, everything will be waste. So he decided to, he was sitting and thinking about it. His young granddaughter was there. And she said, why, grandpa, you are so upset? The king asked these 3 questions. I know how to answer it. He said, what are the questions? So these 3. What is that? Where is God? From where he is operating? And what does he do? Can I come with you to the court tomorrow and answer him? You? Yeah, because I have not read any scripture or anything. Because if you say, then he will say, you are quoting from somewhere. I, just a 5-year-old girl, I have not read anything. So I can answer this. Can you? Yeah, I can answer. Okay. So next day, when the king assembled in the Sabha there, he said, okay, where is this minister? He's not even seen. He's afraid of coming to the court because I have asked the question. So the other said, yeah, he came, but he's not ready to face you directly. Oh, you mean to say that he doesn't have an answer? No, he brought his grandchild, 5-year-old child. She will answer. He said, what? He's insulting me? By bringing the child? What does the child know? Anyway, bring her. So the child came, the young girl. I am here to answer your questions. So then the king said, he was amused. You first of all know what the questions are. Yeah, I know. But anyway, you tell. What is that for your first question? And before you proceed, the child said, see, if I am teaching you, and this is a great knowledge, You should become my disciple. So king said, hey, this is, everybody laughs. Okay, I will be your disciple. If you are the disciple, I should sit on the throne and you should sit. He said, okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, you sit on the throne. I am sitting down. Okay. Now I am the king. Understand? I am sitting in your throne. I am the king right now. Yeah, all right. What's your first question? Where is he? Where is God? Okay. So there was a bowl full of milk kept there. What is that? Milk. Does it have butter, ghee, cheese in this? It is there or not? He said, yeah, it is there. Show. I can't show, but it is there. How do you know it's there? No, I know it is hidden there. When you process it, it will come out. All these are already there. But can you see it? No. But is it there? Yes. That's what it is. Bhagavan you cannot see, but you will know him. When you have the correct knowledge, you will not see by bare eyes, just like the milk has hidden ghee and butter, everything, so is also the Lord is hidden in everything. I said, okay, all right, but where is he operating from? You see this lamp there? Yes. It is lit, right? Yes. Where exactly is the light is spreading? Which direction? Which direction is the light is spreading? And which direction the light is not spreading? No, when the lamp is lit, it doesn't say, okay, I will go only in this direction. As soon as the lamp is lit, the light is spreading in all places, right? Equally. Yes or no? Yes. In the same way, Bhagavan has no particular place to operate from. He is like the light of a lamp, he spreads all over at once. Oh, okay. Okay, what does he do? See, you are asking unnecessarily too many questions. I am coming one by one. Because you have asked this question without even I prompted you, hey soldier, arrest him. So, the soldier, I did not know what to do. I am the king, you only admitted. I am the king sitting on the throne, so I want him to be arrested. As a king, I am ordering it. So he gets very angry. What do you mean? You are just sitting there? Yes, you said that whoever is sitting is a king, and I am sitting here. Arrest him. So the king says, what is your intention? She smiles and said, that's what the Bhagavan does. He makes a king an ordinary person and an ordinary person a king within no time. He can't do that. A beggar can be a rich man can be beggar within few seconds. And that he is capable of. Okay. So the king became very dumbfounded by the wisdom of the child. So what it means is here, what is the nature of the Lord? What form, what function? So first of all, we should know who the Lord is. Yavanaham, who am I? So what are these? Who am I? What is my nature? What form I am? What qualities I have? What function? This you will come to know. The answer to this in 4 verses. That we will see in the next session. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayaः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।